actually not true. And some people believe, and that's probably due to the vendors in the past, that they always sell you a box. And if you need a firewall, then you need some box you have to plug in somewhere. And that is not actually true. It's true in some ways if you implement it as a reverse proxy or something like that. But most of the time, you actually don't need hardware. You don't need to change the network. And of course the targeted audience for this, so it's technical decision makers. It's not deep down technical or dirty technical paper. It aims to the technical decision makers, people responsible for operations on the whole thing, and security, of course, and application owners. So it could be some project manager at the very least, or some guy who just raised the hand at the wrong occasion and said, yeah, we could do it using a web application if I write it in Word. And everybody said, yeah, you do it. It's like the Owasp spirit, yeah. And then, okay, characteristics of application with regards to security. We divided that into two subtopics. One is the higher level aspects in the company, and they are basically prioritizing web applications in regard to their importance. And that hasn't to do with technical stuff at all. You just look at your applications. So we have customers, they say, well, we have 1,000 web applications running all over the company. It's a big corporate. So where should we start actually? And this gives you a small outline, and you can say, okay, access to personal customer data, for example. Just if you've got a tick there, then it should be one of the first applications you deal with. Or access to confidential company information. That is also one, basically, because if you do that and you have a problem with this, you've got a big image problem if you have a security issue. And certifications. If you need them, then you actually have to implement them if they require a web application firewall or web application security in some point. And then the technical aspects, of course, test and quality assurance stuff. So you make sure that you actually start with the security right in the development using some static source code analysis tools. There are a few good tools around, and if the tools work correctly and they do their job really good, they should actually help you getting a rule set for web application firewall out of the box. So you don't need to know the application very much from a security point of view, because the static source code analysis tool is able to give you basically a baseline protection for your application, and you can refine that later if you like, or even during the development process. One more important thing is if you have undocumented systems running around, they also get up and not down in the priority list, because if they are undocumented, they probably have some hidden feature. So some secret admin panel. I've seen lots of those things flying around, and it's just amazing. Or if you use SAP, for example, it's very well documented somehow, but if you read further down the documentation or the appendixes, you see basically URLs popping up all over the place, giving you the power to change the SAP portal in a very integral part. And this is a big problem, because most of the developers implementing a portal don't know that. They don't go as far down in the documentation and say, well, here I can set a master password for some default admin, which is always there. So if you have SAP somewhere and they use SAP portal, there's a default admin with a default password. Actually, it's not even set, the password. The first time you go there, it says, you're a portal admin, password has not been set, set it now, please. And every user could do that. But you don't need it actually to set up a portal to get it up and running. You have got different admin privileges, and this is just a special admin which has too many capabilities to change stuff in SAP with its own account from the web interface. So, and have a look at vendor contracts. So if they provide you with security somehow, then use it or abuse it. Okay, then Next one was the overview, because this is always very mystical around web application firewalls. Vendors in the past promised everything basically from heaven, and open source projects kind of promise everything to you, but they if you look like it, they give you guidance a lot, and they give you default rule sets you can download and implement and things like that. And most of the time people just say, oh, new rule set, download it, implement it, it's blocking something important, turn off that rule without looking into the rule. Just turn it off basically, and then it goes on, and your rule set basically dies out to really unimportant rules, which just have a performance impact into you, and you actually don't need them. It's like you go to the doctor and say, well, I'm going to Alaska now, and I need injections against all diseases you have, because I've never been to Alaska, and there might be some weird stuff around there which is going to bite me, and I'm probably going to die. So give me injections, all of them. You obviously don't need that, because there's probably no CC fly in Alaska who's going to bite you and you die. Okay, so
question.
Yes.
You talked about the SAP example in the last slide. So one of the things when I look at web application firewall, it's kind of a use case for me to start with for the external facing application. So when you say SAP, are you talking about those internal ones?
I'm talking about external, internal. The admin thing is actually an external problem, SAP problem, and it's quite dangerous if you don't actually disable that account. And but in a big corporation, there's no inside and outside anymore. You've got interns coming from all over the world working for you. So are they inside or are they outside? Basically, they are outside more or less, because they are learning stuff and things like that. But they have access to the corporate network, and that's behind the firewall, the network firewall. So and more and more applications have been changed from some desktop application into a web application facing basically somewhere on the network, and then you can access it from the corporate network. So it's not just anymore the problem of I need the software to install it to actually do my work somewhere. That was the past. Now you just open your browser and go to the page, log in somehow or not, and do your work. So where do web application firewalls actually fit? So they're only a part of a solution. So they're not the solution at all. And you just, if anybody tells you you've got a security problem, just implement a WAF and you're fine, then they're actually lying to you. There are problems which can't be dealt with web application firewalls, and you have to deal them in another way. And we explain in that section also about the main benefits of a WAF, what things you can do, and additional functionality you actually don't have to implement if you use a WAF, like, for example, URL encryption. You can do it in the application or in every application, use a framework or whatever, and do it by hand, do some legwork, or you